Breath of the Wild completely changed the way us players feel and want to experience open world games. Instead of just being given information of what's around you or where to go, Breath of the Wild pretty much just left you out on your own and told you to figure it out. Here's a vast open world for you to spend hours and hours forging your own unique experience. Choose how you want to save the land of Hyrule. Find and free the divine beasts, and try to remember your fallen champion friends to defeat the incarnate of evil. The speedrunning community said, "Fuck you, I'll kill him in 20 minutes. Speedrunning is so crazy to me. What do you mean you set the game's language to French because it made it 4 seconds faster? The reason I think Breath of the Wild is the best game to speedrun comes from the sense of choice and free will that allows for great optimization of routes and planning, as well as the blend of pushing the game to its limits and breaking it or exploiting its mechanics and glitches every 2 seconds. The Great Plateau is the exact same for everyone who loads in, but it feels so open and big as a viewer that it's so impressive that the player knows all of the possible things in this game. As in, this is the most efficient thing to do. Let's break it down. First things first, big shout out to Player 5 for letting me use their run as footage for this, and I'll talk more about that at the end. The first couple of minutes don't seem too crazy, and he's clipping through the wall, and now he's on a mountain. There's a lot of clipping in this run, but basically, you go this way to dodge the cutscene, grab a shield and a couple of things, an arrow, and... What the fuck? This is BLSS, also called bow or bomb lift smuggle slide, where Link glitches something onto his hand and then it pushes him into wiggling for flight. After a quick fall damage cancel, which is where you just switch items and it resets your fall damage, they clip into the first shrine because they haven't done the tower yet, and they don't throughout this entire run. Once in the shrine, they do this thing called wind bombing, where they kind of just use bombs to launch themselves, and it's pretty funny. After spawning in some fish for themselves, they use BLSS to slide themselves over to the Magnesis Shrine, and then once they get there, they still have to clip inside of it, and then they just launch themselves again. This is the quickest way to complete all shrines on the Great Plateau. Slide, clip, launch. After getting the paraglider, they BLSS straight to the castle, spend a little bit using BLSS and wind bombing to get some loot, and then it's time for the boss fight already. Right before the fight starts, if you shoot an Xera at this exact spot, it actually loads it into the cutscene and does a lot of damage, enough to defeat the first, which is Windblight Ganon. Then they really just beat the brakes off the Water Blade, and then they use the spinning attack, which does damage at every point of contact, and it completely shreds its health, which they also use on Fire Blight as well. Thunderblight also gets his shit rocked, and now it's time for Calamity Ganon. The first phase is really quick, using a bomb and arrows as well as the spinning attack. We saw to shred Ganon's health super quickly. Which is also how the second phase goes. Spinning with two-handed weapons in this game is just crazy. The Dark Beast Ganon fight is super funny to me, because it's pretty much you just do it how you're supposed to, but super quickly. And then they just have to aura farm and wait for the game to catch up. And then boom, that's it. This game that takes over 150 to 200 hours for average players can be beaten in under 25 minutes. Speedrunning is such a cool way for people to replay or challenge themselves with a game they're already familiar with, trying again and again with new optimizations and routes, trying to be absolutely perfect. And Breath of the Wild perfectly allows this. So many little game mechanics turn to glitches, turn to speedrunning techniques. This game is all about your own experience, and they made it possible to go straight to the boss fight because people would want to do that. You could play the game for hours and hours and never beat it, because there's very little in the game that you have to do. Besides the Great Plateau, which is a great way to introduce the player to this game and its world, and I could make a whole other video about. Because of all of this, I do believe that Breath of the Wild is one of the most perfect games to speedrun. Just because of the concept of it's this huge open world game that you can spend hours and hundreds of hours just playing and finding little details, or you could beat it in 20 minutes. It's up to you, and the entire game is built around that choice and unique experience. Hey guys, I'm doing another end card because there's just a couple things I wanted to mention. Number one, big shout out to Player 5. He's the speedrunner, and I used his former world record. It's currently the second place holder. I used his footage, and I asked him about it, and he was super cool about it. And so big shout out to him. Go watch his speedruns. He's absolutely insane. And I have a couple plans for my next videos. I just don't know exactly when I'll be able to do them or get them up. So thank you so much for watching and bearing with me.